जय जिनेन्द्र जी।
Jai Jinendra to all. Good morning.
वंदामी शमनी जी।
Arham. Hope all have taken peace last week.
समझ नहीं आया क्या कहा आपने?
I have asked that whether you have taken quiz or not of last week.
Yes, वंदामी।
नहीं, मैंने अभी नहीं किया है।
Okay.
I did वंदामी।
I noticed.
वंदामी नॉन सम। मैंने क्विज आज सबमिट कर दिया था।
Okay. It was easy or hard?
It was easy.
The quizzes are very interesting because they are covering almost all the basic points of our presentation or our talks. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the 7th chapter of Prajnapana Sutra. So I want to mute first of all the participants. That is okay. So today we are starting discussion on the 7th chapter of Prajnapana Sutra. And today's topic is of very much interest of all the people, all the people, because it is discussing about the breathing system or breathing process and how length of breath depends on our mental states. So that is very important thing which we have to learn from this particular lesson. So I'm sharing my presentation and then we can start our discussion. Okay, so this is the 7th chapter of Prajnapana Sutra, and this chapter is entitled as Swasochvas. Swasochvas means inhalation and exhalation. Both come in one term, that is Swasochvas. Swas means inhalation and Uchvas means exhalation. So in this chapter, the author is discussing about breathing process of various living beings. whether they are humans, whether they are non-humans, whether they are celestial beings, whether they are hellish beings. Every living being has to breathe. So now we would see that what is said. In this particular slide, you would see that how breathing process is dependent on our mental states. In the scriptures, it is said that the living beings who are in painful or sorrowful state breathe without pause, such as hellish beings. So if you read the horrible situation of the hellish beings, then you will find that they are always in some painful state. They are crying, they are shouting, they are screaming, weeping, asking for some help. So they are in such a painful state, and therefore their breathing is also very shallow. They are breathing constantly without any pause. So this is what shows that if we are in the painful state, our breathing rate increases automatically. The living beings who are in peace and pleasure breathe after a long pause, such as celestial beings. Opposite to the hellish beings, the celestial beings are in pleasure, in comfort. They are living a very luxurious life, or you can say very happy life. So they are always enjoying, or they are always happy. And that's why their breathing is very slow. So you can see here that breathing, they are taking breath after a long time. Though the lifespan of celestial beings and the hellish beings are similar, minimum of 10,000 years and maximum of 33 Sakropam. Instead of that, the mental state of hellish being is quite different from the celestial beings, and that's why they are taking breath constantly without pause of time, without any gap, or without taking any kind of rest. They are taking all the times breathing. So their breathing is very fast and very shallow, and you can say they are taking very short breaths. Opposite to them, the celestial beings are taking breath very slow, and therefore their breathing rate is very less, you can say. And next is non-humans and humans. So about non-humans and humans, there is no fixed rule in the scriptures. They can take breath fast, they can breathe slow, depending on their situation, mental states, emotional turmoils, or emotional balance. So they face many different type of situations. They are not finding all the times the same kind of conditions or situations, and that's why their breathing cannot be fixed, that they would take long breath or fast breath. They can take long, they can take shallow. So it depends on them and their mental states and their situations, or in the environment in which they are living. So this is also meant to say that humans can control their breath. Okay, they have their own power to control their breathing, whether they want to take slow breath or they want to take a fast breath. So it depends on our situation, on our mental states, and it is under our control. Now we would see that there are two types of breathing process which are going on in our body. So mostly we don't know that we are breathing from inside also. We think that we are breathing always through nose, But according to Jain scriptures, the breathing process is taking place at two levels, internal and external. So internally, we are breathing through our lungs, and externally, we are breathing through our nose. So the internal breathing is known as Prana. In Buddhism, we find the similar word as Anapan Sati. So that kind of word you can see in Buddhism also. They are mostly using this term during the Vipassana meditation. Whenever somebody is going to Vipassana meditation, they are practicing Anapansati and Kaya Vipassana. These two type of meditations they are giving during that particular Vipassana meditation camp. So now we would see here that
जैस्मिन जी मैं ना भिवाड़ी से बोल रही
please mute your speaker so that others should not get disturbed. Okay, so the internal breathing is known as Prana. In Prakrit language, it is said as Anamanti, Pranamanti. So we, each and every living being is taking internal breath also and the external one. Internal is taken through lungs and the external one is taken through nose. So we are inhaling and also exhaling. So usasanti, nisasanti. So here you can see that anamanti and panamanti, usasanti and nisasanti. Anamanti, panamanti is indicating the internal breathing process in which we are inhaling and exhaling. So the word an indicates inhalation, internal inhalation, and pran indicates the external exhalation. Exhalation, not external, but internal exhalation. And usasanti or usasan, here it is written like that, but in Prakrit word, it is known as usasanti. So when we are breathing through nose or we are inhaling, then it is usasanti or uchwas. And when we are exhaling through nose, then it is niswas. So in this way, you can see that both types of breathings are going on. So to breathe through lungs or cells is called internal breathing. And it is very subtle process. Generally, we couldn't come to know that lungs are breathing. But we know that when our lungs stop working or working less, then what kind of problems we face. Here, and in the external breathing, which is being taken through nose, it is a gross one. It means we are aware of that particular external breathing process, but internal process we could come to know when we face such kind of situations when our lungs are not breathing properly. Now we would see that there is a time setting with the breathing. So we can see here that what kind of time units are discussed in Jain tradition, and by learning these time units, we could come to know that how many breaths we are taking in what duration. So here you can say, according to the Prajnapana Sutra, the duration of inhalation and exhalation of the living beings of all the 24 types, which are known as dandakas, is as follows. Indivisible unit of time is known as one samaya. So this is the smallest unit of time, which is known as one moment or one instant. So in this time unit, there is only just one samay or one moment. When there are innumerable such time units, then this whole period is known as one avalika. When we find in numerable avalikas. So all those numerable avalika time is recognized as one inhalation. It means numerable avalika is equivalent to one inhalation. So you can see that whenever we are inhaling, it means we are spending almost numerable avalika time. So we and similarly, whenever we are exhaling, we are spending or we are taking at least a numerable avalika time. One inhalation exhalation is equivalent to one pran. So one pran is a kind of time unit here. Okay, pran doesn't mean here breathing, but pran is a technical term for indicating the time which is being taken in one inhalation and exhalation. Now we would see that 7 pran is equivalent to 1 stok, and 7 stok is equivalent to 1 love, and 77 love are equivalent to 1 muhurta. So in this way, these are the time units which we have to keep in our mind, because we will understand, we will see other next slides. Then this kind of time units would be discussed when we are understanding breathing process or breathing length of breath of various living beings. So
Can you explain pran again? What you told?
Pran is equivalent to 1 pran is equivalent to 1 inhalation and exhalation time. Okay, so you are taking in innumerable avalikas in 1 inhalation and numerable avalika in exhalation. So this total period is equivalent to 1 pran. Okay. Yes. Now we would see that some rules for inhalation and exhalation of various living beings. So one rule we have to understand that length of inhalation and exhalation depends on the lifespan of the living beings. So here it is said that our lifespan and our breathing are interconnected. How much breaths we are taking or with which speed we are taking breaths, that will decide that how long we will live or how early we would die. If we are taking breathing very fast and very shallow, our lifespan can be finished before the time. And if we are taking normal breath or long breath, then we can survive for a longer period. So that's why in some meditational practices, the yogis emphasize on breathing exercise and also length of breath, how much length you can do whenever you are inhaling and exhaling. So the inhalation and exhalation are connected with our lifespan. And that is very important point which we have to bottom line. Now we would see that if lifespan is, and now example is given here. If lifespan is of 10,000 years, then one takes breath in 7 stoks. So we have understood what is 7 stok, okay? So here you can see that if 10,000 years our lifespan, then the living being would take one breath in 7 stoks. It means his breath would be so long that it would be finished in 7 stok. And okay, for example, you can see here Bhavanpati God. Among the 4 types of gods and goddesses, the first category is known as Bhavanpati God, who lives in the houses or buildings like us in the lower part of universe. So Bhavanpati God takes one breath in 7 stoks, because the minimum lifespan of all the deities, or you can say celestial beings, is of 10,000 years. So they are taking breath in one breath. If some Bhavanpati God is having a lifespan of 10,000 years, then he's taking one breath in 7 stoks time. And in the same time, the human being is taking almost 49 breaths. So you can just see the ratio of breathing rate with the lifespan connection, and also connection with the lifespan. Now we would see that if lifespan is of 1 palyupam, then one will breathe in many muhurtas. So palyupam and sagarupam, these are also time units. They are recognized as time units of innumerable time. So in palyupam, there are thousands of years, but many years. And then here it is said that if somebody is having just lifespan of 1 palyupam, then he will breathe in many muhurtas. So, and 1 muhurta is of 48 minutes. So it depends on his lifespan. And next is, if lifespan is of 1 sagarupam, then one takes breath in 15 days. So this is the ratio of taking breath with the duration of lifespan. So you can see. Now we would see the each and every individual living beings who are taking breath, and what is the maximum time of their lifespan and what is the minimum lifespan. And because of that, they are taking breath after how many time. We can see that breathing of hellish and celestial beings. So in hellish beings, the breathing process is without pause, fast and shallow due to extreme painful and unrest state of their mind. So they are taking very shallow. So we cannot say that how in one time unit how much breaths they are taking, but maybe in the period of 1 hour they are taking so many breaths. In celestial beings, length of breath depends on the length of their lifespans. Their lifespan may be minimum of 10,000 years and maximum of 33 sagarupam. So we have seen that celestial beings are living a very comfortable life. They are always happy. Their mind is always in peace. And that's why their breathing is also very long. So whenever they are inhaling, they are taking enough time. Whenever they are exhaling, they are taking enough time. So if somebody is having, some god is having lifespan of 10,000 years, then he is taking breath in 7 strokes. And if some god is having maximum lifespan, and that is of 33 sagarupam, then he is taking 1 breath in 6.5 months. Because we have already seen that if somebody is having, or some deity is having the lifespan of 1 sagarupam, then he will take 1 breath in 15 days. So we can count if there are 33 sagarupam, then the total time would be 6 months, 6.5 months. So 1 breath is being taken in 6.5 months. So in the case of celestial beings, the breathing is very much connected with their length of lifespan. Breathing in non-human beings. So we know that the dog is taking breath, and the tortoise is also taking breath. The plants are also taking breath. So speed and quantity of breaths in immobile and mobile subhumans or non-humans depend on their different situations. So you can see that if they are healthy or in unhealthy state, their breathing rate will differ. So in healthy state, they will take long breath, little bit longer breath, while in an unhealthy state, they will take very fast breath. Pleasant and painful state. Similarly, if they are in pleasant state, they will take long breath. They will take some time to inhale and exhale. If they are in the situation which is very painful for them, then their breathing rate would increase, and rest or active state. Similarly, when they are in the rest, then their breathing would be longer, and if they are active, hyperactive, then their breathing would be shallow. So it depends on their situation, and also it depends on the various species. You can see here that the dog is taking so many breaths in a minute, and that's why his lifespan is very short in comparison to the tortoise. Tortoise is taking very long breaths, and in 1 minute might be 2 or 3 or 1 breath, and that's why the lifespan of tortoise is the longest one in the present condition, you can say. So plants and soil and other immobile beings, they are also taking breath, and that's why they are recognized as living entity. In Jain scriptures, one of the sign of being living is breathing. So they are also breathing. Plants are also breathing. Earth is also breathing. Water is also breathing. Air is also breathing. So all these immobile living beings, or you can say natural elements, they are also breathing, and that's why they are live. They are living entities. So we should not harm unnecessarily all these immobile living beings who are living. Now we would see that quantity of breaths in humans depends on the same kind of factors which we have discussed in the case of animals. So we would see here that if human being is healthy, then his breath would be longer and slow. And if he's or someone is unhealthy, then his or her breath would be shallow and fast and short. Similarly, if they are in the pleasing state or painful state, then their breathing would be longer or short. In peaceful state, they would take a long breath, but if they are having any kind of stress, tension, unrest, lack of peace, then their breathing rate would increase. And now if their emotions are under balance, then in balanced state, their breath would be longer. And if they are overactive, today's lifestyle is making humans very hyperactive. They are engaged in multiple things at a time. So in this overactive state, breathing rate increases, okay? And that's why the tensions and every other things also increase in that proportion. Breathing with mindfulness. Now we would see that in meditation, during meditation, we focus on breathing. And as soon as we try to focus on breathing, we become careful of breathing or mindful of breathing process, then we would find that automatically breathing process becomes very normal. It comes to normal rate. And that normal rate, according to medical science or modern science, is that we are taking 15 to 17 breaths in a minute. So if you or we don't check our breathing and we are always engaged in some activities, then we would see that our breathing rate is very faster and also very much. While when we become focused on breathing, automatically it comes to normal rate, and we feel peace in that state. So in mindful state or peaceful state, automatically our breathing rate decreases. It means our breath becomes longer, and our inhalation and exhalation both become longer. In that condition, we feel more energy inside, and we are able to breathe out the proper amount of carbon dioxide and other toxins which are inside the body. So this is what we have to understand, that in breathing process, if we are very much careful, then automatically it will be under the normal rate. Otherwise, it may increase or it may decrease. And if it decreases, then also it might be, if it is decreasing in the positive sense. In the positive sense, I mean that if you are decreasing the rating of your breath, it means you are making your breath longer, then you are getting more amount of oxygen, more energy inside, and you can work for longer period without any tiredness. But if the rating is increasing because of your shallow breath, or because of some problem, some issues in the lungs or any other, then we are not taking proper amount of oxygen, and that creates some problems to our body. So we have to understand here that mindfulness automatically bring our breath in a normal rate. It controls our breathing and makes it longer, so that we can get enough amount of oxygen and our body can work in a proper way. The yogis, they are able to control their breathing. They can regulate breathing according to their own choice, according to their own will. So they are able to control their breathing process. And they can take one breath in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or after a few hours. It depends on their capacity, how much they have developed such kind of capacity to control their breathing process. And they can create miracles by lengthening their breathing, inhalation and exhalation both. So there are so many different types of breathing exercise which have been prescribed in the literature of the meditation and yoga in different traditions. And Hindu tradition is very, very rich for learning all these breathing exercises and the method to control our breath. Now you would see that what is the ratio of breathing in 24 dandakas. So dandak means all the worldly living beings have been classified into 24 categories depending on their situation in which they are taking birth or they are living or getting fruition of their past karmas or present karmas. So these 24 types of living beings, you can see in this chart that each living being has certain breaths or fixed time for taking their breath, whether they are inhaling or exhaling. So you can see that Naraki means 7 types of hellish beings. And it is said that they are taking without any break of time, without any pause of time. So they are constantly breathing and breathe out. So breathing and breathing out is very constant in them. They are not having enough time to take rest or to slow down, because they are always in such a horrible or painful situation that they cannot control their breathing rate. And and you can see here the second is Asur Kumar, and these are 10 types of Bhamanpati gods. You can see here that they are taking minimum 7 stroke time for taking one breath. Okay, and maximum time, especially for the first category of Bhamanpati god, you can see here that they are taking maximum time or more than of 15 days to take only just one breath. And other 9 types of Bhamanpati gods, they are taking 7 stroke time for taking one breath, and maximum many muhurtas. Maybe that they are having some time lifespan of some palyopam, and if they are having lifespan of 1 palyopam, then they are taking many muhurta time for taking one breath. And here Vanmantar are a kind of spirits or ghosts like gods and goddesses. They are also taking one breath in 7 stup and a maximum, what we say, many muhurt, just for taking one breath. And all other, here you can say Audaric, 10 types of dandakas. It means all different types of immobile living beings and mobile living beings, except the celestial and hellish beings. They all are having various different times for taking their inhalation and exhalation. So scriptures are saying that we cannot fix a particular time for their breath, that they are taking breath in what, in minimum which time and in maximum in which time. So we cannot fix for them because it depends on their various situations in which they are living or they are facing some kind of turmoils. Now we would see that in the celestial beings, in among the astronomical gods, we can see that they are having the lifespan of some palyopam, or at least one palyopam. Then they are taking breath in many muhurtas. So minimum and maximum, they are taking many muhurtas to take one breath only. In Saudharma, this is the first higher plane of heaven, and or you can say first higher heaven or first heaven. So in the gods and goddesses, they are taking many muhurtas to take just one breath. And if somebody is having more 2 Sagarupam lifespan, then they are taking breath in 1 month. It means that their inhalation and exhalation is so long that they are finishing their inhalation and exhalation in 1 month. Now, other gods and goddesses, they are also breathing in the same way. And we have already seen that if somebody is having more, the lifespan of more Sagarupam, then their breathing process would depend according to, depend on that particular lifespan. So they may take sometimes one breath in 7 paksh. 7 paksh means 3.5 months. Somebody is taking one breath just in 10 paksh. 10 paksh means 5 months. Somebody is taking in 7 months. Somebody is taking 8.5 months. Somebody is taking in 9 months, and somebody is taking in 19 paksh. It means 9.5 months. So in this way, you can see that all different deities, if the deities are of higher plans, then their breath is very slow, and they are taking more time in taking one inhalation and exhalation. So this is in the last, you can see that there are 5 types of higher heavens, or we can say highest category of heavens. And these 5 types of here you can say Anuttar Viman. There are 5 types of such higher heavens. Among the 5, the 1, the gods of these 4 ones, they are taking breath in almost 6 months, less than 6 months, in 5 months and 5.5 months, and maximum they are taking 6.5 months to take just one breath. And the gods of Sarvar Siddhi, they are taking always 6.5 months in inhalation and exhalation. So this is the whole system of breathing of celestial beings, and their breathing rate is always fixed depending on their lifespan, length of lifespan. So today we will see that how we can control our breathing. So there are simple methods, simple method to control our breathing. So the simple truth is that you can reduce number of breath from 15 to 1 just by the simple method of mindfulness, which can be done anywhere and anytime. So whenever you become conscious of your breathing, you will find that your breathing rate is decreasing and your breath is becoming longer and longer and longer, and you are coming from 15 to 1 breath only in few days practice. Some methods to practice mindfulness include meditation. We can meditate at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever time we have on breath. And you can see that how the breathing rate is decreasing and your breathing is becoming longer and longer. And in proportion of length of breath, you will find that your mind is also calming and getting cool. Breath work, or you can just regulate your breath according to some certain rules of pranayama, breathing exercise. So in the morning, we are giving some session for breathing exercise. So we teach various types of breathing exercise. Through those breathing exercise, also we can make our breath longer and under control. 10-minute mindful break. Or whenever we are doing some work and we are getting so much tired, just try to make a break of 10 minutes or 2 minutes. That will also work and help a lot to regain your energy, which you have lost during the particular work. And you will again feel that you have enough energy to work further. So this mindful break would also help to control our shallow breath and make it longer one. In practice meditation, we incorporate some mantras also. So mantra chanting can also help us to control our breathing. When we chant the mantras, our mind becomes calm and cool, and automatically it helps to decrease the breathing rate. Mantra meditation explains that the chanting of mantra is an easy and effective tool for making the mind focused on one object and achieving better concentration. So this is easy for everybody and anybody, because everybody cannot start meditation with perception of breathing directly, because they are not aware of their breathing sometimes, and if they are feeling that breathing is going on, then also they are unable to see that how breath is looking, and they cannot easily concentrate without thinking anything. So their mind is, after a few minutes or some minutes, they become engaged in some thought process and start thinking, leaving the breathing perception. So for them, mantra meditation is very helpful. If they can take mantra, you can connect your mind with mantras. For example, when you are reciting or chanting Namo Arhantanam, then you are breathing in. When you are chanting Namo Siddhanam, then you are breathing out. So in this way, you can connect your mind with mantra and also breathing. Mantra meditation includes improvement in concentration, cure of certain diseases, and transformation in behavior and habits, and increases in inner power. So mantra can also help you to improve all these things. An often used mantra is Om, which is pronounced as Om. Okay, so Om mantra is very easy. So we can say Om, then breathe in, Om, then breathe out. So in this way, we can connect our mind with the mantra and also breathing. Chanting mantras and articulation of a word generates a special kind of sound waves and vibrations which influence our mind. So mantras are having some kind of a special energy or pious energy or very powerful energies, and those energies would also help us to regulate our breathing in a proper way. Now we can say breathing work. So what kind of breathing work we have followed? So learning how to pay attention to the breath as it goes in and out, and noticing when the mind wanders from this task in order to return to the breath builds the muscles of attention. and mindfulness. Okay, so you can see here that breathing work can be done in different forms of breathing exercise. And we know that there are three main states of breathing. One is purak, that is inhalation. Rechak means exhalation. And third step is antarik kumbhak. It means holding the breath inside after inhalation. And bahya kumbhak means holding the breath outside after exhalation. So purak, rechak, and kumbhak. These are the three main steps which we can follow properly. Then we can make our breath lengthy and can get more amount of oxygen that will help us overall to be healthy. 10-minute mindful break. So I know that most of the people, whenever they get tired, they take some break and take some cup of tea or some snacks, or they gossip, or they take rest. So this mindful break also helps us to control our breathing rate. We should, if we are doing something continuously, then breathing is becoming faster and faster, or the breathing rate is increasing. And if it increases, then we loses some more amount of energy, and we feel tiredness, weakness in us, or we feel fatigue from the work. So it would be better for us to take always two minutes break. Whenever we are working very hard, then just after 1 hour, we have to take break of 2 minutes. In that 2 minutes, either you can give a suggestion to your body to relax, or you can focus on your breathing. Then you will find that breathing is also helping you to calm down, cool down, and to regain the energy. So this is also very good, and health improvement, automatically it happens. That there are so many researches which have been going on and already done on breathing, and that studies have shown that if we focus on breathing and make it longer, slow, then we can get more energy, and our health can also be very good. So by all these practices, so you can see, you have seen that how breathing is very important, and how we can control our breathing, how we can live a longer and healthy life, if not longer, then healthy at least. So that is very important for us, and breathing is very, very important to live a healthy, energetic, dynamic life without any fatigue, tiredness, tension, or unrest. So with this, I have finished my talk on the 7th chapter of Prajnapana Sutra, which is based especially on the discussion of breathing process. Now, if somebody has any question, they can ask me.
Ma'am,
Yes.
as we say that the हिंदी में पूछती हूँ आपको कि जैसे आलू का बंद पहले ही हो जाता है, तो इनहेल और एक्सहेल से कुछ फर्क पड़ता है उससे? जो अगर हम ब्रीदिंग एक्सरसाइज करें तो उससे कोई डिफरेंस थोड़ी आएगा, क्योंकि हमारे पूर्व जन्म में तो हमारे आयु का बंद हो जाएगा कि कितना लाइफ स्पैन रहेगा करके.
यस, लाइफ स्पान को आप पूरी तरह से जी रहे हैं. You are living the lifespan in a proper way, or you are finishing before the time, because you don't know that how much time was fixed, is it? So suppose I have 100-year lifespan, but I don't know that I have that kind of lifespan, okay? And if I am dying in the age of 90, then also I'm thinking that I have lived full life. Okay, but I don't know that I have actually lived short life in comparison to what was fixed. Clear? So it doesn't mean that the life would be lengthy or beyond the lifespan, but if you are living your lifespan in a proper way, then your breath must be under your control. Okay, it is very much connected with that. It can be 100 years can be reduced to 90 years. Okay. And second thing, that if you are, suppose if you are living your lifespan in a proper way, instead of that, you have to be very healthy. And for that also, breathing, it must be very much focused. It must be taken with full care and consciousness. Clear?
तो हमारी जो आयु बंद होती है वो ईयर से होती है या ब्रीथ से होती है?
Breathe is connected with the lifespan. You can say Ayush karma is also very much connected with it. So it is providing energy to live the life, okay, in this particular form of life. So it is supporting your lifespan, okay? It is supporting. Your lifespan should not be finished before because of the lack or deficiency of oxygen in your body. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Any other? So I think, yeah.
When we are breathing and we are coming out, it is the time like 14 to 15 times we breathe per minute. So how about the lungs calculation on that? That doesn't make sense.
Once again, you have to repeat your question so that I can get your point.
When you're normally breathing, it involves nose, everything, lungs and come out, right? So difference between lungs breathing and nose breathing, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you are taking oxygen as so far you are doctor yourself, okay? So I'm not having that much knowledge as you are having about the breathing process or system of body. But what I am understanding is that whenever you are taking any breath through nose, then your lungs is also absorbing that oxygen, no?
Yeah.
If your lungs are not capable to take oxygen in sufficient amount, which you are taking through nose, then it will discard whatever amount you are taking.
Yes.
So it happens with the when somebody is having 40% capacity of lungs or 60%. So he is taking breath in a proper way through nose, but lungs are not accepting.
Okay.
Is it? So lungs must have also the capacity of breathing. Breathe in and breathe out.
Okay. It is interconnected or not?
Yes, they are interconnected, of course, because lungs are connected with this nasal process or nasal system, and through that they are inhaling or exhaling. Okay. So I think today's topic was easy, and nobody has any question.
श्रमणी जी, ये इंटरनल ब्रीदिंग का दूसरा मतलब ये भी हो सकता है साइंटिफिकली, मुझे पता नहीं है, बट जैसे हम ब्रीथ करते हैं तो वो जो ऑक्सीजन हम लेते हैं दैट हैज टू बी यूज्ड बाय माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया व्हिच इज वेयर द एनर्जी इज प्रोड्यूस्ड. तो उसको भी हम रेस्पिरेटरी ब्रीदिंग, उसको रेस्पिरेटरी साइकिल भी बोलते हैं. तो जैसे एक्सटर्नली ब्रीथ किया, वो लंग से गया, बट देन देयर इज इंटरनली जहाँ पे ये ऑक्सीजन जाता है, यूज होता है, एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस होता है, देयर इज अ सेपरेट ब्रीथिंग. तो इट इज वेरी पॉसिबल दैट द डिस्टिंक्शन ऑफ एक्सटर्नल एंड इंटरनल ब्रीदिंग इज दैट ब्रीथिंग. देखिए, आप ऑक्सीजन तो ले लेते हैं फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल ब्रीदिंग, बट उसको यूटिलाइज करके उसका एनर्जी कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता है, दैट्स अ सेपरेट ब्रीदिंग. तो मोस्ट ऑफ द एजिंग जो हम बोलते हैं, वो साइंस अभी ऐसा बता रहा है इज हैपनिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दैट इंटरनल ब्रीदिंग. बिकॉज जब ये इंटरनल ब्रीदिंग होता है तब फ्री रेडिकल्स जनरेट होते हैं. वो फ्री रेडिकल्स फिर आपकी बॉडी को डैमेज करते हैं और उसकी वजह से हम एज होते हैं. तो मेरा ये थिंकिंग है कि देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि जो हम लोग देव लोग बोल रहे हैं जिनका काफी लंबा आयुष्य है, तो वे स्लो ब्रीथ कर रहे हैं एक्सटर्नली, बट ऑल्सो दैट इज बिकॉज दे आर नॉट क्रिएटिंग that many waste product, because part of the breathing is not only getting oxygen, part of the breathing is also getting rid of the carbon dioxide जो हमारा waste product है. तो
Yes.
if जैसे कोई कार है, इट्स हाईली एफिशिएंट, तो उसमें गैस कम डालना पड़ेगा फॉर गोइंग. तो अगर ये पॉसिबिलिटी है कि जो हायर आत्माएं हैं जो देवलोक में है, उनके पास ये इंटरनल ब्रीदिंग डिफरेंट है, उनका बॉडी इट इज सो फाइन ट्यून्ड दैट दे डोंट नीड टू एक्सहेल टू इनहेल. बेसिकली उनका एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन का सिस्टम ही हमसे काफी बेहतर है. तो इसीलिए हमारा आयुष्य कम है कंपेयर टू उनसे, बिकॉज उनका एजिंग ही नहीं होगा. And that's how the aging is probably related to how many breaths we are doing. So breathing is creating waste product. Waste products are then damaging our DNA and the cells. That's why we die early compared to jinka काफी अच्छा system hai. They have made their bodies and energy system usage is so efficient कि ये होता. So that is my theory. I don't know enough for Jainism to know, but that's how I am thinking in my head.
Yeah. See, what you know about the what we say about the medical science and all these kind of studies, and that is also helping us to understand this internal breathing process. Okay, in the scriptures, though there is not directly any kind of mention that it is focus or any or cell or what it is, due to that this internal breathing is going on, but just it is mentioned that it is something internal breathing which is going on inside. Okay, Acharya Shri Mahapragya Ji has explained it as that it is a breathing through pupus, that is the lungs. Okay, so he has given the explanation that this internal breathing is going on through pupus, through lungs, and that is internal breathing. So, and you can also aid this kind of interpretation that is also looking very appropriate to understand these internal breathing which is mentioned in the scriptures. That can also be right in interpretation. So I think that next time you have to give the talks on Prajnapana Sutra from medical point of view.
Very nice explanation. Really awesome.
Yeah. So it is really very good interpretation which you have done. Of course the deities or the celestial beings have very fine body, which is known as Vakriya Sharir. And their body is made of very fine matter, and they need not to lose the so much energy for working or for doing anything. So yeah, they are not losing their energy, and that's why they don't need they are not wasting their energy in exhalation or any other things. Okay, so thank you very much for supporting this from medical science. Good. So now I am leaving.